Hey guys, Dimension Jumper. Today I'll be reviewing the Ashen Wolves DLC for Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, the main story of the Ashen Wolves DLC is that there's this unknown house called the Ashen Wolves, and basically they're trying to find this chalice, I believe, chalice of beginnings, which can help, I believe, revive the goddess. Sethis or Seth Rose. I think yes, it's basically an artifact that can revive the goddess, and it's up to you and the Ashen Wolves, as well as the leaders of the other houses, as well as some of the other members of one member of each of those houses, to basically help you. And that's basically the whole plot. That's basically the plot of the DLC, and I would say that it's a really interesting DLC. It's a lot, I would say, it's a lot more interesting than a lot of the other DLCs I have played. I would say, like, I do enjoy all the characters like Yuri, Belfast, Happy, and I don't 100% remember the other character, but I feel like each four characters bounce off each other very well because they've known each other for a very long time. And I do like how they use different types of skills. For example, Yuri is a bit of a rogue kind of character. He kind of uses swords, and he uses like a bit of magic. For Happy and one of the other characters, not Belfast, but but Happy and another character I don't remember the name of, they basically use magic. And for Belfast, he's more of a tanky kind of character. He uses more of his fists than anything else, and he even has a hero relic that he can use. I think it's very interesting because you don't really see a lot of hero relics throughout the game, of the main game. The only ones you see is maybe for some of the characters in the post time skip, and yeah, that's really cool because this is an interesting form of the hero's relic, and it's basically these giant gauntlet things, and they look very interesting. They're very different. They look like something a hero like of high status or something would probably use before the events of the Ashen Wolves or the events of the main game. And if you're wondering where this takes place in terms of the timeline of Three Houses, this basically takes place before the time skip, like a lot long before the time skip, but after the goddess's rite of rebirth, because there's like some references to where you have to basically where you get the Sword of the Creator. So if you haven't gone up to that bit yet, with Sword of the Creator, I would suggest try getting up to that bit of the game, and then play the DLC to experience for yourself. And if you've already gone past that, then I would suggest you play the DLC. As for the gameplay, it's basically the Ashen Wolves is basically plays the same as basically the original Three Houses. It's the same, but I would feel like that the fights in the Ashen Wolves is a lot harder than the ones you might normally fight in Three Houses. And I think it's mainly because there's like a lot of enemies you have to try and defeat, as well as there's a lot of really hard conditions that you have to follow by. For instance, there's one mission that you have to do in which we basically have to retreat back and escape from a bunch of enemies, which sounds simple, but for some of the parts you have to get to a certain area, I think 2 certain areas before a specific amount of turns are up. And if any member of your party, doesn't matter if it's a member of the Ashen Wolves, a member of any of the Three Houses, or yourself, if one of your characters is faints in battle or whatever, you have to turn back. You have to basically use a divine pulse to turn back time to try and find a more specific way of handling the mission. And I would say that's probably the hardest one I've ever had to do, just because it's just so difficult to try and, like, okay, which characters am I going to use to activate certain areas? Who am I going to lead the charge? Who am I going to do this? Who am I going to use to do that? That kind of thing. So I would say for that particular mission, strategy is the key to try and find the perfect area, the perfect area, the perfect amount of characters to use, the perfect way to defeat enemies, and it's just that particular mission is really hard to do. So I'd highly suggest you, if you're on the particular mission, to try and think about how each move is going to be used wisely and sparingly, and how you're going to use your divine pulses and stuff like that. So yeah, overall I would say that the DLC, the Ashen Wolves, is a really fun and interesting experience. I would highly suggest, if you've played Three Houses and enjoyed that, then I would suggest playing the Ashen Wolves, because that's a really awesome DLC, and it gives us new and interesting characters. And also you can auto recruit all these characters, I believe after you've beaten the game, or beaten the main DLC part, and you can recruit them, I think, after a specific chapter. I'm not 100% sure, but it's a really interesting way of seeing new characters, and it's really fun and interesting. So yeah, and if you're thinking about getting Three Houses and wanting to play the Ashen Wolves, then I suggest you go and get the game and get the DLC for it, and experience it for yourself. So yeah, so that's been my review for the Ashen Wolves DLC. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.